my body down. When I hear that trumpet sound, I'm gonna rise right out of the ground. Ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are at this particular point in time, I want to welcome you, one and all, to the Davistar experience. Last night, the city of Philadelphia suffered quite possibly one of the biggest tragedies that I can ever recall. I think back to when Philly had the train disaster back in the '90s with the Market Frankfurt L. I think back to the Amtrak disaster from a little over a decade ago, where a couple people lost their lives in an Amtrak accident, Amtrak 188 in the Northeast Corridor. Coral Street and Wheatsheaf Lane was the staging area. I remember it well because I was listening on the scanner the night that it happened. Um, I think about the Liberty One fire that happened back in the '80s, where I think like 8 firefighters or so lost their lives in that fire. That still has an impact to this day. I think about the Move bombing and how many people lost their lives with the Move bombing. For those that aren't familiar with Philadelphia history, look it up. Look up the Move bombing. I dare you. Um, so our city has had its share of incidences and tragedies to occur in the city. This city has endured a lot. Well, last night the city endured yet another really, 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 really bad loss. Um, a bad loss of life. Um, the details, as I understand them now, are basically as follows: a medical transport jet, uh, a Learjet 55, if I'm not mistaken, um, was basically leaving from Northeast Airport. And this jet took off from the airport, which was not even probably 3 or 4 miles from where this incident occurred. Jet took off, was bound for I believe the ultimate destination was Mexico, because they were doing a medical transport for a child who was at Shriners Hospital here in Philadelphia. For those that don't know, we have more than probably 9 or 10 various medical centers here in Philadelphia, where you have Shriners, you have Temple, you have CHOP, you have UPenn, you have Pennsylvania Hospital, you have various medical centers where children can receive treatment. Um, this medical um, transport, this jet, was on its way to another destination, and unfortunately, for reasons we are not sure of right now, this jet somehow ended up going from being in midair to landing here. This is the immediate aftermath of this jet hitting the ground, going from, at the time that I had read the report originally, when the news came out, when they started going over the flight log and the where and why. I think they said that the highest it had climbed was probably 1,600 to 2,000 feet, because it had basically left the approach airspace for Northeast Airport, which, for those that don't know, Northeast Airport is a different location than Philly International. There are two big airports in Philly. There's Philly International, of course, which handles all of your major carriers: American, Southwest, Frontier, Spirit, United. All your domestic carriers can be flown, and some international ones can be flown out of this airport. They have a big FedEx hub where they service the bigger aircraft, the DC-11s, the DC-10s, your MD-11s, and your occasional A380 if called upon. Rare, but it can support larger aircraft. This airport that this particular aircraft launched from was mainly catered to smaller aircraft. So that would be your Learjets, your Bombardier CRJs, your turboprops, your single engines, your, you know, dual jet engines, but they're smaller aircraft, that kind of thing, your dual propellers and whatnot. Somehow this aircraft went from leaving the airspace for Northeast Airport, and I'm assuming it was getting ready to head up to cruising altitude so that it could, venture to its final destination. Somehow this aircraft went from climbing to rapidly descending and then slamming into the ground um at, at God knows how fast that airplane was traveling. um I was trying to upload the clip so that you guys could see the actual flight and impact of how this plane landed, but this is the aftermath of this is basically a photo that was taken this morning of the immediate aftermath of where this airplane ended up. You see the NTSB investigator standing there. You see the vehicle. There were various vehicles that were impacted, and off in the distance, you see what appears to be part of the fuselage or part of the tail number. Not exactly sure. There's so much damage and so much destruction behind this that we just don't know. This is how it looked last night into the wee hours of the morning after the fire and everything had gone out, when Philadelphia Fire put out everything. At the time of the incident, multiple Philly Fire, Rescue, EMS, Philadelphia Police, Pennsylvania State Police, um, everybody that could possibly be dispatched to the scene was dispatched. The call went out around 6:40 and some change, um, for them to dispatch every available unit that could possibly get to the scene to try to assess the situation. And they were essentially trying to get everybody there that needed to be there to help. Unfortunately, it appears as though it was all, in vain, unfortunately, due to the velocity, the sheer velocity of this airplane going from altitude to ground as fast as it did. If you see the ring camera footage, and I wish I could put it up, but the ring camera footage of this particular flight, the way that it went up and then hit the ground was just, it was gut wrenching, to see this airplane go so fast, there are going to be a lot of questions that are going to be asked of various people in the aviation industry. And I've heard all manner of experts throughout the night as I was listening in to NBC and Fox and CBS, and our local affiliate NBC 10 has been on it since then. I don't think their coverage has stopped, because this is something that we rarely ever have happen in the city of Philadelphia. But Mayor Sherelle Parker did a press conference late last night, and then she followed up with one probably like an hour ago. And the latest update that we have received is that there were 6 people on board this aircraft. Um, like I said, it was a medical transport flight for a child. So essentially, this child was on board the aircraft along with the child's mother and 4 flight crew, including a onboard surgeon or something like that. Of course, those 6 people that were on board perished, but we were also notified that a subject that was on the ground sitting in a car also was also has perished, um, along with the flight crew and the mother and the child. Along with that, there has also been a reported 19 people that were injured by flying debris, and people that were hurt behind this aircraft hitting the ground. And you can go online and see the videos of the various videos of the destruction that this caused. It's sad. It's really, 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 really sad, the amount of destruction that happened. As you can see here, this looks like it's part of the door to the fuselage. This landed clear across the parking lot of a gas station. You could just see the destruction. This was taken right after, and the fire that occurred afterward. Yet again, here's another video from Rupert Street, Rupert and Cotman Avenue. So where this occurred at is in a very very dense area of Philadelphia, known, for those that aren't familiar, it occurred in Northeast Philly. So essentially, this aircraft landed basically right in front of a mall, a really, really popular mall in Philadelphia. Philadelphia has several malls, but this particular location, very dense area. A lot of people can travel back and forth to the various stores and shops they have there. These photos can't do justice, but I'll try to get one of the aerial. So, okay, this photo from here, the one that you're seeing on your screen now, if you look to the right where those 2 vehicles are, that's the parking lot of a Dunkin' Donuts, if I remember correctly. Down to the bottom of the screen is basically going back towards one of the main highways in Philadelphia. We call it Roosevelt Boulevard. So that's got a bunch of red light cameras. So if you come off of that road, you can easily cross this area, which is why they were imploring people during the press conference not to venture into the area, because the destruction is so widespread. I don't want to sound too graphic with it, but I'll do it in terms of mechanically. When this aircraft landed, it landed so hard and so violently that when it impacted the ground, it basically exploded and splattered. Various aircraft parts were found several hundred feet, some cases probably a quarter mile away from the point of impact. I thought I took a picture of the actual crater that it left behind, but this is all of the destruction right here that you can pretty much see from one end to the other. It's truly a sad situation that the city of Philadelphia has to endure right now. Like I said, 19 people injured, 7 deceased. The numbers are fluid as far as injuries go, as our mayor Sherelle Parker indicated. So we don't really know how many people are going to end up being injured behind this, because this here is going to be have lasting effects on the area. I just feel terrible. I really do feel terrible for the people that have had to witness this. When you see the video of the incident, when you look it up, it looks like a war zone. It reminds me of scenes out of a couple of the wars that we fought, as far as like Afghanistan and whatnot. It looked like that. Burning vehicles, chunks of fire in the middle of the road. I mean, this is a very terrible situation. It really is. I hope beyond the greatest hope that this city can come together and heal behind this. I want to give a shout out to our mayor. I got to get used to calling her our mayor, but our mayor of the city of Philadelphia, lady by the name of Sherelle Parker. Sherelle Parker has handled this situation with so much class and so much dignity and so much reverence to the victims of this incident. Beautiful, beautiful person. I had my doubts about her, but she has become the leader of the city of Philadelphia that the city has needed in this time, through various incidences that have occurred thus far since her tenure as mayor. Uh, Football slogan spelling mishaps notwithstanding, Sherelle Parker has done an amazing job in the city. And her words last night, while the situation was still ongoing, were very much needed. I have to give her the utmost respect and credit for being the voice of a city in shock. Because that's essentially what the city is. The city is in shock. Because we, as far as I know, besides the Amtrak disaster from a couple years back, I can't recall the last time we experienced anything this catastrophic. The Amtrak incident, Amtrak 188, anybody wants to look it up, look it up. It was a sad time, but as once again, Sherelle Parker pointed out, this city came through when needed. The city came through, and when people needed assistance, the city showed up and showed out. So much respect to our mayor, Sherelle Parker. Let me get to the comments. 30 seconds into the flight and this happened. It's crazy. Yeah. I so anybody that wants to follow more details about this incident, I want you to go to VAS Aviation. I've said that before when it comes to aircraft incidents. VAS Aviation, they have the ATC audio, and whoever does that YouTube account also does a very great job of coming up with visuals as far as directions and things like that that you can get from various sites that do tracking for aircraft. Um, Definitely worth a follow if you're into aviation. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. They have a lot of information that people could definitely use if they're looking to follow this if they're looking to follow this incident. Um, they have a lot of amazing detail when it comes to this, and their explanations when they get further into the analysis of the situation are very, very well done. I would Sometimes they got better explanations than the NTSB gives. But yeah, all the resources of all city government, all resources of all state and federal assistance has been brought to bear behind this. And this is something that is going to affect Philadelphia for a long time to come. Um, Prayers go out to Shriners because they put out a statement basically confirming the loss of their staff and the young person that was involved in it. Um, they did an amazing job with the statement that they wrote. So much respect, much credit to them. Prayers go out to them. Prayers go out to the family. Prayers go out to the person that was that perished on the ground. My prayers go out to all of the people that were injured by the debris. This is going to take a long while to clean up after the investigation is done. Um, and there's going to be a lot of psychological trauma behind this too, because especially considering we're not even 3 or 4 days removed from the last aviation accident in DC, and now you got one here. So there are going to be a lot of traumatized people dealing with this. So much respect to everyone involved in the situation. I pray that everybody can find some sort of healing in the midst of this, because this is going to take a long time to get over. If people even get over it. Timoni says, my house is on a flight pattern takeoff. My house is on a flight pattern takeoff, and you can bet I'm now watching the planes that go over my house. 2 crashes in 3 days. Something is not right. It's crazy because I think the United States just brought on a new secretary of flight or a secretary of transportation or something like that. And he's going to have to, you don't think that somebody's going to have to go on Capitol Hill? Oh, he's going to have to go sit in the hot seat in the next couple of months. You better believe it, especially after the DCA incident. Oh, yeah. If you thought the grilling for the girl that was responsible for the Secret Service when Trump got pew-pewed was bad, oh, this is going to be 10 times worse. This is going to be nonpartisan grilling for hours and hours and hours about how it is that, this was actually allowed to occur and what happened to, these planes. I don't think they're going to really face a lot of grief over this one. I think it's more so going to be for the DCA flight because you had a mishap in midair where 2 planes were collided. We don't know what happened with this medical flight in Philly. We really don't know. They could have lost an engine. They could have lost visibility. Um, I do recall that the weather was not that great. Um, because not too long after, probably within an hour or two after the incident occurred, I think it started raining. So it was kind of overcast that whole day. So, you know, hopefully that did not play a factor in it, but we don't know. Russian citizens in the first one, Mexican citizens in the second one. Who is she always talking about? You know what? I would have normally said that this would have just been a pure accident. But at this point, anything is possible because when you think about it, it's crazy. This flight was headed for Mexico, and the other one had Russian skaters on board. Things that make you ask questions. Let's see. They are going to be finding debris for years to come. Nuts and bolts, little stuff. This is going to be, if you recall 9/11, I want to say as of a year ago, they were still finding pieces of those airplanes. They were still finding, I think, as of maybe 2 years ago. Think about it. 9/11 happened in 2001, and I think they just found a piece of human remains somewhere in New York on one of the roofs of the buildings that were nearby or embedded somewhere. They had just found a piece of hardware or something. Um yeah, they were still finding details about 9/11 as of 2-3 years ago. So we really don't know. Um this is sad. This is crazy. Still finding debris. So yeah, they're definitely going to be picking pieces of debris out of buildings, which from what I'm understanding, there's a piece of uh aircraft engine or aircraft fuselage embedded in some guy's roof nearby, like a I want to say like a couple 100 feet away. There's a piece of fuselage in some guy's ceiling. Let's see. He's going to deflect and blame the agency. He just fired all the executives, leaving with no leadership or direction. You know what? I wasn't going to make this political, but I got to go here. So the part that ticked me off about this whole situation is that after the first aircraft situation, goes on TV and says, "Oh yeah, uh, instead of saying we pray for the victims, instead of saying we're praying for those that were affected by this, or we're gonna devote every resource to the whole." We're gonna do X, Y, and Z to make sure this doesn't happen again. Jargon. He goes on a rant about DEI hires, and I'm like, what? What? Why would you do that on the national stage where people are watching you? You try to make this about a platform about your agenda. I don't think that was a wise move, but I ain't the president. Let's see. There are no coincidences here. Nope. Who is going to pay for all the damages to the properties that were damaged? Um, if I remember correctly, the mayor said that they're gonna have people can file claims with their insurance companies. Insurance companies are gonna have to pay for all this. That's just what it is. I don't believe that they reported any loss of property. It's mainly just damages. It's not like um and I'm trying to remember the incident exactly. But if I remember correctly, there was a flight that crashed over New York. where, if I remember correctly, they lost the rear stabilizer once they got up to a certain altitude. It was an American Airlines flight. I'll post it if I can find it. But this happened probably months after 9/11 in New York, in like southern New York somewhere, where an aircraft crashed in a residential neighborhood, and I think like 30 homes were destroyed. Um, what was I going to say? I got this heater making noise. Yeah, after this aircraft landed, basically like 30 homes were lost, and they had to basically rebuild everything. And the insurance companies picked up the tab for it. Some of those people just didn't move back into the city. They left and went elsewhere. But with this here, I don't think there's any loss. I think it's mainly just damage, unless they come out and report that somebody lost any property. I doubt very seriously that anything was lost to where there's going to be a big claim. It might just be structural damage, or somebody's going to get a new roof or something like that, or a new siding or whatever. And I think the city's going to pick that up. The city or whomever, the insurance companies are going to pick that up. But they did say that, people can file a claim for any type of damage, just like the cars that were destroyed. Insurance is going to pick that up. Hopefully they had insurance. But if you had insurance on a vehicle that was destroyed, I wouldn't even worry about it. I'm pretty sure the insurance company is going to have to pick the vehicle up, because that's something that was not in your control. That was not in. That was kind of like an act of God kind of thing, like hurricanes, thunderstorms, etc. That was an act of God. So I don't believe that that's going to fall on the ownership of the vehicle. It's mainly going to fall on the insurance companies. Then they're going to have to sort all that out. Exactly. You try to blame the agency because they hire black people and women. He's such a pig. Yep. Yep. I said I wasn't going to make this a political situation, but slowly but surely, ever since he's taken over office, everything that has happened in this country has been a political situation that has to be addressed. Um, but yeah, I'm not going to be on here long. Um, Basically, I just wanted to come on here and touch base and everything. I just wanted to touch base and just, let everybody know what was going on. Like I said, seven people dead, 19 injured. Numbers likely to climb as far as the injured goes. Um, there was a video last night of someone. I'm not sure if this was the person that was on the ground that was hurt, but I did see a video, and hopefully you don't see it, where someone basically came out of wreckage and they were, fully engulfed, and somebody put them out. So hopefully that person got medical treatment that they needed. Yeah. Let's see. Hurricanes are acts of God and not covered by regular insurance. Really? I remember having a conversation with an insurance person about something. And at the time, this was years ago, they were basically saying like anything that is not man-made is covered by the act of God. So hurricanes, earthquakes, twisters, tornadoes, that would be considered act of God. And I remember on the radio when they would run certain promotions late at night, they would have the little advisory ad, which basically says that, you know, such and such, W such runs different programs. We're not responsible for if you win a prize on the radio, you have 30 minutes to claim your prize. Um, Say it's an event that you get a ticket for. You get the tickets for the event, and if you can't make it, that's on you. But if the event gets canceled or whatever, they can't necessarily give you a refund because it wasn't a cash for cash prize. So they can give you an equivalent. So say you get tickets to Summer Jam, or out here it would be an event called Powerhouse where a bunch of celebrities show up and give like a concert. It's like a yearly thing. If you can't make it to Powerhouse for whatever reason, that's on you. But if it gets canceled for whatever reason, inclement weather, hurricane, tornado coming, whatever, then that's considered an act of God. But if you just can't make it because you can't find a babysitter, that's on you. Let's see. Um, let's see. So does it fall on the homeowner to get hurricane insurance that is non-existent in Florida since Andrew? I don't know. I don't know how hurricane insurances work as far as like different areas because I never lived in Florida, so I don't know how that works. Um, I don't know how. I do recall right before it wasn't Andrew. It might have been Andrew. It was Andrew, and it was another one. I want to say it was Sandy. When Sandy hit, I remember a lot of people had just been told probably weeks beforehand that their whatever hurricane insurance they had was being canceled. And I think the reason that they gave was due to lack of events or something like that. So basically, instead of charging people however much for that insurance, they basically offset it. And then weeks later, Hurricane Sandy showed up and ripped the hell out of everybody's lives. Same with these wildfires, how they canceled the insurance, the um, fire insurance on a lot of people that live in Southern California. Some of those people depend on that insurance because of the unpredictability of the wildfires out there. They happen all the time, especially during the summer. Oh God, the summer is the worst time for fire. So some of those people are paying out the ass for fire insurance. That wasn't a question I was telling you. Oh, okay. Ah, wow, that's interesting. So they are acts of God and are not covered by regular insurance. Wow. Okay, that's crazy. But yeah, shout out to this woman right here, Sherelle Parker. She's done an amazing job as mayor so far. Um, she tried to do this whole thing with the stadiums in Philly, and that didn't work. And my only complaint to her is that apparently she can't spell. Because for those that don't know, I'm gonna try to end this on a lighthearted note. Um, so for those that don't know, the Philadelphia Eagles have a fight song. I didn't ask for a commentary, son. Thank you. So the Philadelphia Eagles have a fight song, and essentially it's basically "Fly Eagles Fly on the road to victory." Fly Eagles fly, score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit them low, hit them high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly Eagles fly on the road to victory. Now here's the end part of it. The ending of it is the spelling of our team name. Eagles, Eagles, right? Somehow, this woman right here, the mayor of Philadelphia, during a press conference, goes to spell the name of our city and spells it completely wrong. I believe she spelled it ELGLSS Eagles or something like that. I think what happened was I think what happened was she got in the middle of getting ready to spell it and somebody said something to her or whispered in her ear and she lost track of where she was and was like, yeah, Eagles. And I was like, well, what? But yeah, that's our mayor right there. Let me tell you something. I wasn't cool with her at first, but she kind of grew on me. And this incident here really, step made me appreciate her for stepping up and taking charge. This is a no nonsense mayor. Let me tell you something. And this is going to be another video I'm going to do later. I'm going to say probably later this month because it's February. So I'm going to aim this video for the end of February. But I'm going to do a video on the drug issue in Philly. We had a section in Philadelphia called Kensington where there's a lot of drug activity there. And this woman coming in as the mayor said she was going to address it and she was going to take care of it. And she's handling it. They went out, I think, on the first or second day and started cleaning up that area, moving some of the people that were on drugs out of that area. And I have to say, I'm definitely impressed with the job that she's done so far and look forward to, hopefully getting this situation together in the city. Timoni, you know where I stand with the whole drug issue and the public transportation system. That's another issue I'm going to tackle probably this year. I want to give them time to address the situation. If not, I'll address it for them. But they're not going to like how I do it. Poor baby forgot what she was in the spelling. You know what's crazy? I have seen videos and photos of her at the Eagles games. Timoni, I'm going to tell you something. As an Eagles fan, you can be in the stadium even if you're not from here. Let's just say you're from Portland, Oregon, where you have no football team, no sport, the closest thing you have is whatever Oregon college team they have, right? They got Oregon. Even if you come to Philly for a day, for a weekend, and you sit in the stadium, you probably will hear this Eagles fight song close to 60 times. Because someone's going to chant it over and over and over again. During the course of a game, depending on how many times we score, you'll probably hear it maybe 8 or 9 times. You hear it after every down. You hear it after every touchdown. You hear it after every possession. And you hear it pretty much at the end of the game. That's where they really play it loud on the loudspeakers. But yeah, I'm pretty sure she's heard this song close to 6,000 times in her time here in the city. But I'm going to cut this video here. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Once again, my prayers go out to the victims of this tragedy, this tragic situation. My prayers go out to Shriners, to the parent and the child of the victims in this situation. Hopefully there is going to be a full in-depth investigation where they can get to the bottom of what happened and something can be done about it, because this should never happen. It should never have happened. And it's a shame that people lost their lives in this incident. The victims on the plane, the flight crew, the patient, the mom, the victim on the ground, and the various 19 people that are injured, and the psychological trauma. My prayers go out to the firefighters, the police, and EMS, and the dispatchers that had to handle probably several hundred phone calls in a matter of minutes behind this incident. Because as a dispatcher, and I know this from firsthand experience, it can be traumatizing having to hear someone scream on the other end of the phone and knowing you can't do anything about it. So